See Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 1. The wise woman builds her house. Not the wise man. The wise woman builds her family. Jesus spoke about the wise man in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 7, because he obeyed all that Jesus commanded. That's also true. But here he's speaking about the home. That it is the wise woman who builds her home, and the foolish one tears it down with her hands. And most of that tearing down with the hand is with her tongue. But why does it say a woman builds the house? Because the greatest power on earth is the power of submission to God. The power of submission. The opposite of that, the greatest evil, is the power of rebellion. Why do I say that? Because sin came through rebellion. When the head of the angels rebelled against God and said, I will not accept your authority. Remember that. If God has placed a man over you, sisters, and you refuse to accept his authority, now you know who you're following. The highest angel who became the devil, who said, I will not accept the order God has placed that I should be under God. No. Rebellion brought sin into the universe. And that's the greatest evil. Now let's come to the other. The greatest good that came was when Jesus submitted to his Father. His entire life was one of submission. And that's how he brought salvation. So submission is the opposite of rebellion. It's the difference between Satan and Jesus Christ. And in a home, who is the one who can demonstrate this fantastic heavenly power of submission? It's primarily the wife. There are areas where a husband must also submit to his wife, give her space, don't go within her boundaries. That's one form of submission. But the Bible says, wives, be subject to your husbands as the church is to Christ. So it's the wife who has the opportunity to manifest the glory of submission. It's true, there's a glory in submission, and more than anyone in the home, it is the wife who has the honor and the privilege and the opportunity to manifest that. So she brings the Spirit of Christ into the home by her submissive spirit to her husband day after day. And what's happening? When the Spirit of Christ comes into the home, it builds the home as a home where God can dwell. God can never dwell in a home where there's rebellion. You can put a verse on the wall saying Christ is the head of this house, but it's just a verse on the wall. Christ is not there at all. He will not be there in a home where there's rebellion. That's why it says a woman builds the house, because she's the one who has the opportunity to bring that spirit of submission into the home. It's very important. Let's make use of this time when we are at home to learn this, dear sisters. And see, you cannot teach something that you have not learned. You can't be a teacher of chemistry in a school if you've never studied chemistry yourself. You can't teach mathematics in a school if you haven't learned it yourself. And you can't teach submission to your children if you haven't learned it yourself. And when you see your children rebelling, ask yourself, where did they learn it from? Where did they learn it from? I know they've got a bad nature within, but where did they learn to talk the way they talk in a rude way to each other? Ask yourself. Is it from the way the wife spoke to the husband?